So Louise and I would like to discuss something very important, and that's how animals that have not been adopted or are permanently part of the sanctuary end up being pretty expensive as they get older, just like any animal and frankly any person. As they age, things start falling apart. We have to continually go to the vet. Vet visits are a really big part of our job, and constantly monitoring them for signs that they are sick, which can be a little difficult with cats. Cats are a bit stoic, but we kind of know a little bit about some of their chronic issues. Louise, where are you going? Louise herself is 9, and I know it's very confusing because she acts like she's 2, and she's spry as can be. Look at that eye, bright. She's a bright old lady. We got years on this chicken. I know, thank you. You gonna poop on me? Oh, your bum's dirty. I'm just gonna pull some shit off your bum. She's got sneezes, right? So we've got a lot of like sneezing, which is a little bit frustrating, but the problem really with having a shelter in which a lot of animals were not adopted due to our location and the complete lack of good quality homes, they need to continue getting care for the rest of their lives. More than likely, most of the animals that we have now will never be adopted. And we recognize that. I love having a chicken butt on the screen. Here you go. Are you going? Where are you going? She wants to show you her tushy. So the problem is that when we had 60 animals on site, the costs were roughly the same. They're actually less. I think they're actually less than the costs that we have now for a few reasons. Number one, most of the animals are geriatric at this point. They are in the phase of their lives where all of the things start falling apart. So we have to really constantly, hi beautiful, consider that fact in their medical care. We also have an international clinic nearby now that has a lot more opportunities for diagnostics, and all of these things are quite expensive. So we're able to get international quality care, and the price is the same. So we have to also consider that not only do we have more vet visits because the animals are much older, and we don't have our own vets able to do all of these things for free, or not free, vets aren't free, but at a lower cost because they're ours, because we don't have our clinic yet. Anyway, but also because these animals, we provided them the opportunity to live out their lives, and whether they are going to be adopted or not and be in a home, whether they're capable of that. We've got cats like Ricky, who is snuggled up in a ball over there, who pisses on things all the time. And he was born on the property. His mom was pregnant when we rescued her, and he was born here. He was born next to my bed in one of the bedrooms, and he seriously will look you in the eye and piss on the wall, right? Nobody's gonna adopt this cat. He is amazing. We love him so much, but the reality is that he isn't going anywhere. We do have cats that are ready to go. Joseph, hi. Joseph was, he was rescued from the cat meat trade. I took him from a cat catcher about 6 years ago. He's been here forever. He's chipped and ready to go to Europe. He's got a rabies titer test. He's ready to go. He could get on a plane tomorrow. And he still hasn't been adopted. We've got several animals that are ready to go to Europe, still not adopted. It's just very difficult to find homes here. COVID has made it a whole bunch worse. And, we have to consider that these animals are going to be with us forever, and the funds to take care of them are really vital. Louise really wants to tell you something. Louise, what are you talking about? What? Are you very beautiful? She's majestic. She's just fucking majestic. I love you. I love you. She has so many sounds. Anyway, so as a result, we're basically a nursing home for rescued animals in Vietnam. I don't plan on having a whole lot more adoptions as the time goes on, and we're not, as a result, not taking any new animals. In order to take new animals, you have to have outgoing animals. That's not possible. And I don't believe that we have the consistency in human resources funding veterinary care available to us, and particularly our building situation is quite poor. In order to be able to do this work on a long term, taking animals, that's just not, it's not really a solution. The biggest problem is that I really know that most of these animals really shouldn't have been born. And if we were doing the work that we needed to be doing, if we had the opportunity, if I could go back 9 years and start all over, it would be solely in sterilization and veterinary training projects. Just going out and sterilizing and vaccinating absolutely everything we could see, not taking in animals. Rescue is a necessary evil. The reality is that rescue is sort of a byproduct of a failed sterilization program. If we were able to complete the sterilization project as we need to, the population would naturally go down, and animals that are ending up in rescue, animals that end up being neglected, abused, stolen or dumped or whatever, ending up in the dog and the cat meat trade, they wouldn't exist. They would never have been born. So rescue in and of itself is a failure. And I know because we started the organization's clinic in 2015 that's my failure. That is on my head. And Louise is just really very busy watching me. What do you want to talk about? She's so involved in everything I do. She's always been a very curious chicken. But yeah, I mean, we know that as Louise gets older, I mean, at the age of 9, there's going to be more problems. We know that that is what she deserves more than anything in the world. And we're going to give her everything she needs. Yeah? And there's so many kisses too. I kiss my chicken like crazy. Can't stop kissing my chicken. I love you. Anyway, so she's mesmerizing. So basically the project at this point is to increase the veterinary capacity of the organization, of Vietnam in general, of the community of Central Vietnam, in order to ensure that more animals are receiving the care that they need and not ending up in a rescue situation. Not only are they receiving the care that they need from qualified veterinarians, but they would be receiving the reproductive care that they need, which means eliminating their ability to reproduce, and to be able to ensure that we've got widespread vaccination going on so that the typical infectious diseases are less of a problem. We cannot eliminate parvo and distemper in Vietnam. I don't believe that to be a reality in our situation, not without like massive government programs to do it, but I think we can alleviate a large portion of the animals going into the rescue situation, rescue shelters or whatever, and needing to be taken off the streets by just eliminating the population. The math just works out. So, but in the meantime, we really have to look for a new shelter. The building itself, like I said many, many times, is falling apart. I know nobody gives a shit about the facility that we work in, but it is a really big important part of our job is to ensure that not only do our animals have a safe place to stay, but the on-site staff also have a safe and healthy place to stay. And the mold and damp in the walls that the landlord is not addressing, cannot address, will not address, whatever, it's all a really big problem, particularly because they wanted to do it just by moving the drain, and that didn't help anything, but it has nothing to do with the roof. The roof needs to be done, and they're not going to do that. So, end of story. We need to get out of the area. But I guess the biggest problem is that, of course, there's a lot, borders have opened up, and so people are able to get visas. It's a little more difficult to get land. The economy is sort of regenerating, and there are a lot of, God, she's very intense. This is a business chicken. There's just a lot of people that are searching for property at this point. We are not beyond the point that we might have to actually build something, which is a massive capital campaign as far as donations are concerned, and could be upwards of $40,000, $50,000, but it would be a purpose-built building. We would have much safer, more waterproof facilities, and we could focus on having it more veterinary centered as we are moving away from sheltering entirely. Over the years, in the next 10 years, all of these animals will not be alive. That's the reality of it. Even our youngest ones, I think our youngest ones are 3. The chances are they'll either be dead or they will be quite old, and there's only going to be a few of them. The majority of these animals are between 12 and 8 at this point. And so we really need to focus on the future, and the future for us is definitely going to be in the veterinary field. And working more on vegan advocacy projects, veterinary training, ideally working in farm transitions, getting people off of animal agriculture and into plant-based farming. But that is another project entirely. But yeah, that's the planning. That's the plan at the moment. And basically keeping all of our babies happy and healthy, and trying not to kill the neighbors, because that's kind of where I'm at today. So yeah, I stole that kitten from them yesterday, and I know they're mad, and I don't really give a shit, because they've made me mad for almost a decade. I don't give a shit. But we're not keeping the kitten. Kitten will be adopted. Kitten's going. Kitten's in foster. It's fine. Currently in my bathroom, but will be in fostering soon. So yeah, that's the plan. Stay tuned.